Hi guys, it's Luetin here, and today we're going to be talking about YouTube, some of the changes that have been made recently, but also about growth of channels and viewer experience. I'm joined today by Snoov and also Jamin and Jay from Pixel, who people will know has been working a long time within YouTube. So first of all, I want to go over to Snoov because he really initiated this whole topic and this whole discussion. And I think, Snoov, if you can just give people a heads up about, you know, the kind of things that have been going on and what started this whole talk today.
All right. So the thing that I've been noticing with the past couple of changes on the YouTube, what they're doing with their layouts is it seems like they're constantly pushing different videos and channels that get a ton of views in a very short period of time. So in short, it seems like these new layouts seem to benefit really, really big channels or just people with viral videos in comparison to everybody else. I noticed it because with this new layout, no matter what I do, you cannot change the preferences to default to just show your subscriptions and show it just by uploads and on chronological order. It keeps wanting to default to like now playing, which features channels I'm not even subscribed to. This isn't really any different from the last layout. A lot of people right now aren't seeing this new layout. It seems to be about 50-50.
No.
Right. So it's weird because on the Snoov603 account, I'm still seeing the old layout, and then on my Snoov603 account, I see the new one. So looking at the two side by side, sorry, back up. I know that the previous version that some people are still seeing, that had its fair share of issues and, kind of still doing the same thing. It seems to cater to people that get a ton of views in a very, very short period of time.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I find as well is just the inconsistency and also lack of communication, not just towards producers, but viewers. I find that very rarely am I ever told or made aware. There seems to be no posting, no information. It's just bang, a change happens and people are kind of almost left to figure it out for themselves. I mean, Jay, do you find that frustrating that things just sort of happen with no prior warning whatsoever? Does it impact what you do, and do you think they could do it better?
Absolutely. I mean, we're never given heads up as to what's going to be coming, and I don't know if it's if YouTube should do that, but or if they're obliged to do that or feel like they owe it to us. But they do have the YouTube creator blog, which we'll put a link in the description for you guys to check out. That does a decent job of letting us know what the changes are. Most of the time, it's after the fact, after they've implemented them, and then they kind of tell you. Sometimes they do give you a heads up, but they do have that as a resource. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating. I mean, there's times where you log in and you see changes, and you don't really know what's going on, and it's difficult just for even somebody that's using YouTube every day to get used to the changes. So I can only imagine for the casual person that might have an account and they might subscribe to some people and use it every now and then, to come back and see a lot of changes often has to be a little bit off-putting, especially when they don't know what's going on.
I think the thing is as well is one of the major problems that I've seen recently is the failure for videos to deliver to subscription boxes, and this seems to be plaguing all over the place people. And I mean, have you found that with Pixel that things have not been delivering and numbers have been affected? Has that really been a big issue?
It's hard to tell. I mean, I would love to blame it all on subscription boxes, but I really do think that the videos are being delivered, but the way that people are finding them seems to be the issue, because sometimes they don't publish right away, and then they're delayed, and when that happens, they basically get pushed to the back of the sub box. Sometimes on mobile, if you use the scheduled uploader, if you schedule your video, let's say for 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that will publish at 1 o'clock in the afternoon properly on the regular browser that you're using on your computer. Yeah. But on mobile, that's going to get published all the way in the back. So the published uploader doesn't really work that well. So there's other issues. I hear people complain all the time that the sub boxes are broken. I don't know how. Like I said, I wish I could say that it is the sub boxes, and I think that there is something wrong there, that they don't work properly.
From my experience, it seems to be about 50.
Delivered.
Yeah, from my experience, it seems to be about 50-50. That's the kind of feedback that I'm getting from my subscribers, and I get sort of half the guys saying that it's no problem, half of them are saying they don't see it for several days and things. But let me just talk to Jamin here, because we've got a good scale here. We've got a good scale of producers. Jamin has got a small channel. My channel is slightly larger. Snoov603, again, is about double, and then Pixel Enemy is obviously quite a large channel, over 150,000 subscribers. So it's a good kind of benchmark all the way through. But Jamin, as a smaller producer, do you find that YouTube has it helped you to grow as a channel at all, or has it just generally been very, very difficult to claw in any kind of, you know, sort of views and you know, has it been just very, very hard to grow your channel?
I found it difficult. I'm going to go back to probably 2 or 3 months ago, before I actually became part of Pixel Enemy. That, you know, my views were growing. Every video we put up get some decent views, and when they started to change the YouTube layout, you notice right away when you put up a video that, you know, when they don't go to the sub box or whatever. And again, like Jay said, we don't want to blame it on sub box, because maybe people don't just want to watch the video that you produce. And, you know, you can argue with that, you know, 50 or 60% of the time. But then when you use such media outlets as Twitter and things like this, and people say, well, I didn't see your video, then, you know, there is some issues with that. So, you know, it is frustrating for a small channel like mine. And with you guys, where you have such a larger sub base, you guys must see the difference in the amount of views that you see on each video. I know I find a dramatic difference. I'll give you an example. Today at around 2:30, which on Sunday in the mid-afternoon, I usually find a pretty good time for me. And again, a smaller channel, you're always searching for better times or better tags or different ways to get eyes on your video. So I put up a video this afternoon, and it's sitting right now at around 61 views. So I took the liberty before we started this chat to just do a quick search with the same tags that I had in my video. And there were 2,080 videos with the exact same name. So, or that came up with that search. So it's frustrating to make your channel go, especially when you feel that your viewers are not seeing what you're uploading. It certainly hinders, you know.
I think the thing is, when you're creating videos, and especially when you're starting, I think posting them simply to YouTube will often not necessarily get you anywhere, because just the sheer volume, like you say, of people posting videos and tags and so on and so on. And I think you really need to find other outlets, be it forums or, you know, somewhere where there's a kind of like-minded community where you can kind of share and other people can start getting in, and then those people go, hey, this guy's made some good videos. So for example, the Battlefieldo website is still very good for new people making videos. You can submit videos to there. They do have a strict submission process, but you can submit videos for Battlefield to that, and then it gives you a little bit of visibility, which can be a real help for people starting out making videos. And, you know, it helped me when I was starting to make things. But Snoov, let's just come back, because it's not just about producing videos. It's not just about the guys producing. All of this thing really, you know, all this process does affect viewership, and it affects the quality of videos that people can view. So what's your kind of opinion on how these kind of changes with YouTube, and also a lot of the problems that we've been seeing, how will that affect, you know, people's experience, and what could they really do better to improve it for people?
To be honest, they need to simplify. I think that's really the best course of action at this point. They need to simplify whatever it is they're doing with trying to get, you know, people to see more videos. Like, I know that they kind of changed how everything works, so that you know, whatever kind of videos you're watching, the videos that you watch more of, those kind of videos are going to show up in all your search results and stuff. So they're trying to make everything make a little bit more sense, if you will. Like, if you sit there and you watch like Battlefield Friends and just things like that, and those are the kind of videos that you watch the whole way through, but you still really enjoy watching something like just Battlefield 3 commentaries, but maybe you only watch like 50% of those videos, they're going to suggest videos to you that are similar to like the cartoon, like Battlefield Friends. And I guess I kind of understand the concept behind that, but it's one of those, like, don't try and force things into my hand when I'm perfectly capable of finding the content that I like to watch. You know, especially if you already created your own account and you're subscribing to certain people, then why mess with that? Like, just let the people themselves figure it out. Don't mess with what kind of videos come to them. Just don't narrow it down. Just keep it broad like it used to be. I think they're just getting too technical for their own good, and it's really diluting the level of quality for the videos. Your overall sampling of videos that you want to watch. They're really diluting it and trying to narrow it down, but that's not always the best case.
Yeah, Jay, would you agree with that?
So I mean, we look at it from a different perspective. Sometimes you have to sit back and kind of be like, what is Google or what is YouTube thinking? That why are they making these changes, and try to figure that out. And for them, it's all about, the dollar, and they're trying to keep people on YouTube longer and keep them engaged. And their thought process is, well, if we put the videos that people like the most next to other videos that people are watching, or something that's of similar interest based on an algorithm, that might keep people on the site longer. And if people are on the site longer, that means they're not on other websites. And if they're on our website longer, we're making more money. And unfortunately, it's not a person actually in there sorting out these videos saying like, oh, this person will like this because they like this other type of video, or let's put something else in there that might be good. This is all based on math, and this is all based on just an algorithm that does the work for them.
So do you think we could do with a more a more user-based, maybe even sort of organic system where people kind of help select their own things and they kind of pick and choose? Do you think something like that, rather than such a mechanical system, could be more beneficial?
I think so, and I think that they have certain features like that built in. On the homepage when you first sign in, they give you some subscription options and that kind of thing, and they give you some customization stuff. But it's really hard to say with these changes. I mean, everybody's being affected. Everybody, across the board. Unless you're, I look at YouTube in waves. I look at there was the initial wave of people that came in. 3 years ago was kind of like wave 2, and we're kind of on to wave 3, and you really need to adjust to what YouTube is doing, and that's a tough thing for everybody. I think people that were in wave 1 aren't doing nearly as well as they were when they first started, because wave 1 was people that they were the first ones in, so there wasn't a lot of content. There wasn't a lot of stuff to watch, so they benefited just from being first. Wave 2 kind of stepped it up a little bit. People were actually making better content. There was more stuff to choose from, and they were still kind of first, so they might have rode that a little bit. But now with Wave 3, there's so many people that are doing this now. It's really, really tough to get your name out there, and I think that it's like Luetin said, it's a great point. If you're making content, you need to find other places to put it, and you cannot rely on just YouTube and its search functionality and recommended videos. You really need to go outside and find those places to put your videos. That will draw attention to your videos on YouTube. That'll help out with the algorithm. YouTube will see that it's embedded other places, that it's doing well other places, and that will actually probably bump you up a little bit in search.
I think the other thing really good point. I think the other thing as well is that you can collaborate, and that's not just in terms of sharing other people's views and sort of I have obviously done series with lots of different producers, but to be honest, that's much more because of my own interest. It gives me a good ability to discuss topics, because when you're just making videos yourself, you obviously can't have such a good back and forth. But if you start making videos with other people, it gives you a much better ability to have a rapport and discuss a topic and go backwards and forwards. And I know that with some of my videos, one of the comments people made the most was that, for example, the videos I do with level cap, a lot of the comments that we often get about that was people saying it's nice that you guys, you don't always agree on a topic. People like to see the discussion element where we sort of go, well, I think this, and he's like, well, I don't agree. I think that this is actually the case, and people like to hear that. So I think if you're a smaller channel, another good option is to, don't necessarily always go spamming and hassling large channels, because chances are they're just going to see your inbox PM and they're just going to go, I don't know this guy, and they won't bother to respond. However, if you were to contact smaller producers that are around the same size as yourself and maybe drum up a bit of a response, or if you know someone who did know a slightly larger channel, you could say, hey, would you mind doing one video with me? We could talk about something, see how it goes, etc., etc. Those kind of things I think can really help build, and they're more interesting for people to watch than just one person solo constantly talking about gaming and stuff. I mean, so Jamin, if you could make one change to YouTube, because obviously there's been quite a lot of changes happening in a short space of time, and it's putting you on the spot a little bit, but for a smaller channel, what would be something that you would like to see brought in that could possibly help you out?
One change to YouTube notification, probably that again, I hate bringing up the whole sub box thing, but that your videos did actually make it to sub boxes. And I know that everybody's going to watch all your videos, as I said before, but I can agree with Jay a little bit that YouTube is a business, and as much as you don't want to think about it as that, and I make videos because I want to do it, not because I need to. I enjoy it. I mean, it's a hobby that I like. And when you do a search, the big channels, and we're not going to mention any names, of course, will always push your videos down to the bottom of the search page or your subscription feed. I'm subscribed to some very big channels because I enjoy some of their content, not all of it. And subs are a little bit more selective now. And again, to go back to what you said, Luetin, they have a lot more to choose from. And just some notification that, okay, if you have 2,000 subscribers, or you have 500, or you have 100, 80 of these people seen the video in their sub box and they decided not to watch it. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do agree. I think that notification and stuff like that, knowing that it's reached people, is a big help. It's a big help for you as a producer, because you know then that your content is actually getting to your subscriptions, and then you can gauge how well your work is doing based on that. And then you see this ties into users, because it's not just about the producers, it's not just about how well they're doing. If a producer knows, okay, I've got 1,000 subscribers and my videos are getting 200 views, now then they can look at, and they know that those videos are being delivered. Next time they post a video, they can then see how better it does. If they post a video with a slightly different topic, if it gets 300, 400 views, but they know it's been delivered, then they can say, okay, well, I know that the same amount of people received this video, and I can see that it's made a marked change. So they can actually see that there's been an improvement there, adjust their content to provide better content for their users, and also hopefully feedback from people.
Exactly.
Snoov, what would you think? What would be any change that you could make, whether it's perhaps a regressive change or progressive change?
Oh, man, I don't know. I guess the thing I would really like to see is just to make it a little bit easier to personalize your settings on your front page. So, like
more customization, or just more simple?
A bit of both, I guess. I mean, I guess you could argue that adding more wouldn't be simplifying it. I guess it just needs to. No, well, don't add anything. Just make it a little bit more simple. Because that's the thing I really don't like about this new layout, is that I don't know if you guys have gone through it. For those that have, been able to toy this new layout, it's actually kind of difficult and requires several steps to go through and set it up so that your feed shows uploads only from all the people that you're subscribed to. Before, it was pretty simple. It was just that little drop-down tab that you could just re-highlight. Instead of highlights, it was uploads only. This, it requires like several different clicks. You have to go through a couple of different steps, and then even still, it doesn't stick. It always goes back to now playing instead of subscription. So, like, I get where they're going, but me personally, I don't like it, and I like them. Let's pull it back a little bit. It's raining just a little bit, re-simplify things, and just put the focus back on, make it easier. If I want it to be uploads, just let it be uploads and keep it that way. If you like to see the highlights, like, okay, I really like these guys, so I'm interested to see what they're liking, what it is they're watching, then keep it defaulted to that. Just make it easier, make it stick. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Jay, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the business side of YouTube, in terms of producers making their own living off of content and so on, has obviously increased incrementally in the last few years? From a user point of view, from a viewer point of view, do you think that that is a negative thing, or do you think it's a positive thing, or do you just think it's part and parcel of the whole development? Let me just give you an example. Obviously, some producers are making these videos for their own living. That's what they do. But there is a bit of conflict of interest there, that they could potentially be just turning out anything to make them, get the views that they need, because they know that whatever they put out, it's going to hit those numbers. But do you think that within a wider picture that could in fact be a negative thing, that it could drive it in the wrong direction for viewers seeing content? Or do you just think within the whole scale, it's just part of it and it will always be there?
I think that is just a part of it and that it will always be there. I think in the gaming space, that probably occurs more often than in other genres that are on YouTube. I think in the gaming space, you're dealing with a demographic of kids that are younger, that can be manipulated much easier than outside of gaming. So I think that's always going to be a part of it. So yeah, that's really all I have to say in regards to that. If there was one thing I could say for changes that I'd like to see for YouTube, I would get rid of the dislike bar.
Right.
I would probably leave the thumbs up, thumbs down button there. But again, I feel like the demographic that we're dealing with is very influential. I don't want to call people sheep, but it's almost that type of mentality. They see something getting liked a lot. They feel like, I have to like this, because if I don't, I'm out of the group. And people also see the dislike. They see like, everybody's disliking this. I better not like this, because then I'm the outcast. So they all dislike something. So I think just getting rid of the bar would do a lot of good. You can leave the like dislike buttons there. That's fine. That helps out YouTube and the algorithm and the way it sorts things in search and all that kind of thing. But
so have it as a statistical thing. Yeah, so have it as a statistical thing, but not a visual thing, basically.
Right, right. Yeah. So the creator can still see it and all that kind of stuff too. So the creator still knows what content people are liking and disliking. That's what it was there for originally. So the content producer had an idea of what was being enjoyed and what wasn't. Because even if you had a large amount of views on a video, you didn't know if people actually liked that video or if they disliked it. It might just had 10,000 views, but you had no idea. Maybe the comment section would help you out. But that dislike was really for the content producer, not for gaming the system.
Just a kind of interesting side thing to connect to that. It's not really anything to change, but just something that I have noticed is a trend, and it ties into this whole what people see with the linking stuff. And what I've noticed is that when you initially post a video, the first comments that you get can be really important for a video, and this may help out sort of smaller channels when they're growing. What I've noticed is that if you get a very negative comment, because everybody knows that you get some trolling random haters always all over the place, when you get a very negative comment initially on a video, it can often dictate the rest of the comments that come thereafter. Doesn't matter what content the actual video is or how good it is. And if that comment, the first one, people go, oh look, this guy's written a stupid comment, I like that, it gets a few likes, all of a sudden it's the top comment. Then the problem that you have is that bizarre negative comment is the first thing people see, and often people don't bother to read down the comments. They literally will watch a video and then just write whatever they want, but they may often see the top comment. So the top comment can be actually extremely important. Now, I'm not saying that people should automatically just remove any negativity from their videos, because I think it's important that other viewers get the ability to respond to other people and say, well, I don't think you're right to say that. I think that, you're wrong and this is a good video. However, I think that if you're a small channel, when you first post a video, it might be worth, within the first hour, just making sure that you don't get any unnecessary random negativity, because that could then dictate the rest of the views coming along. But Snoov, from a viewer point of view, what do you think all these changes really do for viewers? I mean, do you think it's in some ways turning people off and alienating them? I mean, YouTube's obviously a massively growing industry. It seems to be just growing indefinitely. It's just growing larger and larger all the time. But these kind of things are possibly pushing people in the wrong direction, and it's making everything more difficult for it to grow. I mean, we've talked a lot about smaller channels. Within the sort of bigger picture and maybe the long term, do you think all this kind of, I'm just going to say, all this pissing around, do you think they should maybe just choose something and stick with it for a few months rather than chopping and changing all the time?
I'd like to see them pick something and stick with it for like upwards of a year.
Yeah, seriously.
With them changing it like every 2-3 months, it seems like. Maybe it's a little bit longer. Maybe it's 4 months, but I feel like no one ever really gets a chance to get used to whatever the layout is. Like, it takes people I'm speaking in general terms. I'm assuming it takes most people a couple weeks to finally get 100% comfortable that they know they can navigate the whole new layout and find exactly where they want to go and find exactly who they want to watch and the whole 9 yards. If you keep changing that, like, it's kind of discouraging. It's like, well, why the hell am I going to sit here and go look for all these other channels when you're constantly changing it? You know, like, I was subbed to this one guy. I don't even remember his name now, but it was a channel I just happened to come across the other day. I can't find him because now it's too difficult to navigate through and figure out where everyone is. So, all right, screw it. I'll go back to watching what I've always watched. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it. I mean, that's how it is for me personally. I've been trying to find a bunch of new channels to watch, and I'm always doing that. And I found one last week. I don't remember what the name of the channel was. I was just coming through some videos, and I was like, oh, that's a good video. So I subscribed, and I was like, I'll come back to that when I have some time. Go to look for it. Well, new layout. I couldn't remember the name of it, so I don't know how to go back and find it. Yeah. And that's so it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to watch their videos until I happen to stumble across it by accident again, because I'm just too lazy and I don't want to get frustrated with trying to navigate this because I don't feel it's as intuitive as the previous designs. So I'll just keep sticking with watching what's already in my hands instead of looking for new content because it's just easier to go about doing it that way.
Jay, with the way that YouTube presents videos, it often obviously presents the most popular videos as therefore these are the best and therefore you should watch them. However, that's not always the case, and I often find that when I'm looking for content, I look through and I find these very highly rated, highly viewed videos, click on them, they turn out to be really not that fulfilling or interesting, and they tend to be just some random crap that people have kind of gotten hold of, and it sort of spirals and then everyone kind of gets on board. I'm not saying that we should take that away, but do you think it would be good if YouTube had more selection in terms of saying, well, okay, these are the videos that are doing very well, but these are interesting videos which are doing, you know, okay, and maybe you should look at them, or perhaps just have some other system there, something else, rather than just the constant bombardment of these videos are doing very, very well. Do you think they should try and, accommodate for smaller channels, give some kind of portal for that?
I think so, and I kind of look at music services like Pandora and Spotify and the whole like-dislike thing. On those services, if you dislike a song or dislike an artist, they'll never come up in your feed again, or if they do, it's very rarely. So again, using that like-dislike system would be great, because sometimes you see a video and you're like, oh, this is pretty popular, let me check this out. It's got a ton of views, and you're like, yeah, this must be really good. And you watch it, and you're like, I don't get it. I don't understand why it's popular, but it is. I'm disliking the video not because I dislike the person or anything like that.
It's just not for you.
Yeah, just not for me. So I would like to just dislike a video, and videos similar to that shouldn't come up in my feed. And I think
that would help a lot.
Yeah, I think that's an easy solution. To this day, I don't understand why they haven't included that. I guess maybe there's just some like legacy stuff built into the back end of YouTube that maybe that capability isn't there. But I think that would probably help out a lot.
Do you think it would be better if there was a more kind of shared system as well by the people that you associate with and that you like already, rather than showing you random people or random videos that you never would have clicked on in the first place? It shows you more videos that are linked with the people that you already do things with. Now, I know that obviously if you subscribe to someone or whatever, it's going to show you what they have liked and so on and so on. But I think, you can also have friend systems on YouTube and so on and so on. Do you think that should be more strongly presented as well? Because then you're within a whole kind of subgroup of people anyway. Maybe it should present that kind of stuff more than just like, oh yeah, today this video's got 6 million views and therefore it's awesome,
Yeah, I think so, but at the same time, I don't know if that complicates the system even more than it already is. I mean, I've noticed lately that it has done a better job of, on some days, not on all days, but on some days, putting people that like I would think I would be associated with. Like if I had to go ahead and put recommended videos on the right-hand side, I think I would know who I would put there. And sometimes it does it really well, and other times it doesn't do it at all. I've thought about different ways for them to do that as well, but I really can't think of a feasible way that works for their benefit and for the user's benefit at the same time. I think that's something that they're probably thinking about as well, and it's probably why we're getting these changes, because they're trying to find that formula. I know YouTube is really looking for higher quality stuff at this point. YouTube used to be the place to go for funny cat videos and stupid videos and that kind of thing. And you have services now like Hulu and Netflix and all that type of stuff that's subscription based, and they're making money on it that way. And people are spending a lot of time on those services. And if they're spending a lot of time on those services, that means that they're not spending a lot of time on YouTube. So I think that, going forward, I would hope that YouTube's going to look for more, higher quality stuff to promote. I just don't know how they're going to do that when it comes to gaming.
Yeah.
Because we know this. We all know this. That
it's very subjective.
Yeah, it's very subjective, and you can put out a really, really good video that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and somebody else is going to do something that doesn't take as much effort, not as much quality, and they're going to do better. So it's and YouTube needs to promote that because that's going to get them paid at the end of the day. So it's a catch-22 when it comes to gaming videos.
Yeah, I mean, Jamin, again, coming back to a smaller channel, when you're trying to make videos, what would you say would really, how are you trying to help grow your channel? What are you trying to provide for your viewers? And then how would you think that would translate into gaining more people for it? What could be done better? How would you like the message of the video that you're producing to be conveyed better to garner more interest?
Luetin, I'm really trying to figure out ways to get more people to interact with the video, try to ask questions regarding, okay, if you don't like the way I'm doing this, please tell me the way you would like me to do it. And I find if you get a conversation going with most people, I'm a small channel, I don't have a lot of trolls. So, most of the people, they will tell me honestly what they like and what they don't. Just read, for example, the first comment I got on today's video, because I know we talked about it a little while ago. And this goes back to the business of YouTube. The guy said, do you really like this game, or is this a conspiracy between EA and YouTube partners to try to sell me this game? Right? The guy did not legitimately believe that I liked the game I was playing, even though I tried to, I did like the game. But I find people don't really trust what you're saying to them anymore. YouTube has turned into people not really believing what you're putting in front of them. And I find that's a bit of for a smaller channel, for people to believe what you're doing is legitimate and you enjoy doing it is a struggle for a smaller channel like mine.
I think that goes into a wider issue, which is sorry, not that you're going off topic, but this goes into a mildly different off topic within gaming, because there's been a lot of talk lately about editorial and how it's always been an issue within gaming, that people are obviously kind of bribed. It's sort of, but not literally, into giving good opinions about games and giving good reviews about games and so on, and how if you work within the editorial sector of gaming, you're almost kind of bought. If you don't give games good reviews, you won't get shared anything else new, so you'll never get any good selection of content to put out, and so on and so on.
It's a great topic for another day.
It is a good topic for another day. It is absolutely huge, and I think there's a lot of cynicism and stuff associated with that, but it is quite a large topic. But it's interesting to bring that into smaller channels, because I'll tell you why. It's smaller channels will naturally have they've got nothing to lose. So
I have nothing to lose. And so I do this again for the enjoyment, as I mentioned at the beginning, right?
So smaller channels, in my opinion, would be a much stronger source of accuracy and objectivity and genuine editorial feedback than potentially larger channels. I'm not going to name names, but I know several very large channels, over 150,000 subscribers, who recently have been associated with different newly released games, and because they are sort of got their foot in the door with the developer, they've almost got their hands tied behind their back. They can't come out and say, well, I played this game, but it sucked. Because if they do that, then not only will that producer, the developer, who has given them a little boost and said, well, we'll give you a little bit of content, or we'll give you some access to things, they're going to not only never do that with you again, but they would also turn around to other people and they would all get the message, and then therefore you would never get anywhere. So just from being involved, I see a lot of producers who say, oh, well, we've gone off to other people and we've had a day with the developers and they showed us this and they showed us that. Again, those kind of people, they want that exclusivity. They want to be able to go and do these kind of things. Now, if they start bad-mouthing the game, then immediately they're not going to get that opportunity again. Whereas smaller channels, they're not probably going to get those opportunities, but the opinion that they give on those titles is possibly going to be more objective, more accurate. So, purely from that perspective for viewers to be seeking out smaller channels, you're going to get a more realistic opinion. Now, obviously, not all small channels are going to be good. Often small channels, there can be a reason they're small because maybe their content isn't that great. However, there's plenty of small channels where their content is really gem-like. I have found several people recently who I've really loved their content, and I've said, I would like to do a video with you, or I'd like to share it, because for me, it's not about big numbers, it's about just quality content and finding good people, which is why I always try to do discussion videos and commentaries. Just time is a limiting factor. Snoov, what do you think about that, about this whole idea of smaller channels giving more objective quality content than these larger channels, which in effect could be compromised by their own success?
I don't know. That's a tough line to walk, because there are definitely still some bigger channels out there that still put out quality content. I just think that, unfortunately, we put too much focus on the few big channels out there that put out shit content day in and day out, because I don't want to think of it too much as speaking about the big guys putting out shit quality content, in just a general term, because it's really not all of them. It's only a select few. Yeah. But I do agree with you. I feel for the most part, most of the little guys are really, really working very hard to put out better quality content, because they're the little guy. They have to fight for that viewership. They have to draw people away, and the only way you can draw other people's attention is to being just as good as everyone else. Sometimes isn't good enough. You either need to be unique, or you need to be doing it better than everyone else in order to pull your share of the views. That there's only so many people out there that want to watch gaming videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with that. I think that there is a lot to be said for the smaller channels putting in much more effort to gain everyone's attention, because they have to. What else can they do? They're going up against a lot of these guys that have been been established for so long, that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and people are going to watch them regardless of what they're throwing out there. So they need to put in that extra effort to get noticed.
Yeah. Jay, Pixel Enemy partners people. It brings new channels on board and gives them an opportunity to show their content. When you're looking at what people can provide for you as a large network channel, what is it that you look for, and what would you advise people if they're starting a channel or starting to grow it, or they want to make the next step into pushing their channel forward?
That's a pretty loaded question. I'll start with the beginning. And what we look for.
I'm good at these questions, you think?
Yeah. So for Pixel Enemy, we started out doing press. So we've always considered ourselves press related. So majority of the content that we put up, it's related to the game. So you're not going to see. You might see occasionally, but for the most part, you're not going to see videos about people talking about their day, just running over gameplay. We've always said that we want to keep it about the games themselves. So, we look for people that are talking about game-related topics or specifics in a game, weapon reviews, tactics, that kind of thing. We've always kept it about that. So that's kind of what we look for, or entertaining videos, something that's different, or something that we think that deserves to be put on a bigger pedestal, that is on a smaller channel that just hasn't been seen. So we almost act as like a subreddit or something along those lines.
Springboard.
More of a springboard than anything else, to help out smaller channels. And we've always done that. I mean, that's how we got to where we are today, just by doing that. We came along at a time that, other than really Machinima Respawn, there wasn't another outlet for people to do that, and we were doing a lot of Battlefield content, which was still pretty new on YouTube. So it might have been a timing thing for us, but I've always thought that anything that I've posted up on Pixel Enemy, I try my hardest to, in my eyes at least, think that it's really good. I've never done it just for for money and spamming videos. I mean, honestly, I could put up probably 10 to 15 videos a day if I wanted to.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't. Yeah. I put up 3 to 4 just to be a little bit different from whatever else is out there, and try to build the channel on quality over quantity. Unfortunately, that might be the honorable approach, but from a business standpoint, I don't know if it's the best approach.
I think that's something that I would echo in because we're sort of talking about, okay, what can people do as well, not just for their viewers and for themselves when they're growing a channel. I know that one of the best things for me when I started making videos was that rather than just grabbing some gameplay and chatting over it, now that can be quite difficult to do, and I also think that people underestimate how difficult it is to narrate and talk with videos. But I think that spending more time making a video to make it really good when you start out is better, because if you can make one good piece of work, then people will suddenly go, wow, this guy's made an excellent video, and then you can use that as a platform to push things forward. I mean, how often, Jamin, how often would you, in terms of time, spend on making a video? Do you tend to do you have a certain number in your head of how many you want to try and make out, or do you have certain projects which take you longer than others?
I find it depends on which game I'm working on. If it's a Battlefield game, we'll say, or a Medal of Honor, I really put a lot of time in those videos. I've done almost 5 or 6 hours. And as you mentioned, the commentary itself sometimes can be the hardest part of that. Trying to get it right, that you like it yourself is the biggest challenge, because I think if I like it myself, then other people will like it, of course. With regards to editing the video, I mean, I've done it in an hour. I've done it in 5 or 6. So it's kind of a broad statement, really. It depends on the video itself. Some videos are easier to do. It depends what you're trying to relay to the viewer, I think.
And Snoov, let's just bring this back as well to YouTube in general. The crux of the matter, do you think that YouTube is damaging its entire sort of system by constantly changing things around, or do you think it's just a natural progression that they're trying to find the right balance, and that hopefully things are going to sort of mediate out and it'll all kind of sort of fall into place? Do you feel that that's really the direction it's going, or do you think that they just keep chopping and changing to whatever is the flavour of the month at the moment?
The pessimist in me wants to say this shit is stupid and I'm tired of them screwing with everything. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, I'm actually optimistic about it. I think that eventually they will find it. I can't deny that my patience is growing short, though. It feels like every new change they make is half a step back from what it used to be, 2 years ago, when we'll say a year ago, because there definitely was some improvements, and you can take some improvements from every change, but overall the whole package I feel like is a step back. Mm-hmm. Everyone's familiar with the good and the bad of the last change with this change. Honestly, the only good thing I can say is that now you can add the thumbnail when you're uploading, which is nice, instead of having to wait for it to upload and then trying to catch it while it's still processing to upload your own thumbnail, so it would go immediately. But overall, I mean, the layout is ugly. It's boring as sin. It's just pure white. Like, there's nothing flashy about it. It looks like they got really lazy. But at least, there's a lot to be said for trying. And I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it for a better experience overall. I just think that they need to kind of take something else into consideration. There's a gap between whatever information they're getting in and what they're trying to give to us as the viewers. I feel like they need to pull in some people that actually use it, some outside people, and say, listen, this is what you have now. What do you not like, and what do you do like, or what do you like? Make some changes, give them a preview. What do you think? I'm like, okay, and then bring in more new people again, totally fresh. Okay, this is what we've done. We're thinking about going to this. What do you think? Yeah. And they're like, oh, holy shit, that's totally new. And then kind of work from there instead of this whole guessing game. Well, based on our numbers, this is what we think we should do.
I think it's a very difficult thing, because this is the problem, is that when you have something like YouTube, which is a global thing, it's very difficult to, and also it's not like it's one media area. It's not like it's one topic spread all around the world. It's not like it's not like it's a fishing site, but that happens to be available worldwide and everyone kind of goes there, because it covers every topic. Therefore, very, very difficult to tailor it maybe to one specific marketplace. And I think I can really see it from their point of view that making things more neutral in a way is better in some respects, because it means that it doesn't conflict with other elements and so on and so on. But Jay, last point, do you think that 2013 YouTube will be in a better position than it is now? And do you think that YouTube will be in a better position than it is now for viewers and producers? Or do you think that one or the other could be affected negatively by the changes that are being made? Do you think it's basically going to be in a better position for everyone?
I think so. I mean, I look at this as kind of a twofold. So we know that YouTube has issues, but I think in the gaming section, the part that we're all involved in,
yes,
gaming is just down right now. You know, we're 6-7 years into life cycles of consoles. There's not much new content coming out, you know, as far as new IP. People have seen everything. They're getting kind of sick of it. You know, you've seen like PC guys kind of come up out of nowhere now on YouTube, and a lot more PC content is being watched because it's better to look at, and it's just better than the console, you know, counterparts. You know, we're just at a point now. You know, we're kind of at it at the end, and I think that in 2013, if we can get some new consoles out there, if we get some new IP, we get ways that are built into these consoles even to share this stuff that we're doing more easily online, I think there'll be another surge. I think we're just kind of down right now, and like I said before, I think this stuff comes in waves, and sometimes you just have to ride it out. Because it, you know, this is going to sound so corny, but if you don't, you will get washed away because other people are just going to come up. And it could be a timing thing, or somebody else comes along. I mean, there's channels that started right around the same time as we did, and some of them got a huge boost right at the beginning. They were doing Battlefield Bad Company 2 content. They thought that, you know, they'd ride that wave into Battlefield 3. They didn't enjoy that game, and now nobody's watching their content because they're either not playing the game or they're not enjoying it, or whatever the reason is, and they kind of get left behind. And you have a new crop of guys that came out during Battlefield 3 that, you know, skyrocketed. They weren't around when Bad Company 2 came along. So it's really interesting to look at trends and what people are doing, and, you know, how many videos can you do before people get sick of you?
Yeah,
you know, some people have that gift of gab. Some people can hold an audience, and those guys, you know, I hate to say it, but luck does play a factor. I mean, there's people that, you know, I listen to their commentaries. I'm like, yeah, they're good. Okay, this is good. If you put this next to another commentary, I would think both of them are good. And if you told me somebody had 500,000 subscribers, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I would have no idea. I would think like, yeah, he's good. You know, okay, yeah, he's good. Okay. And the numbers are astronomical. So, you know, I think that plays a big factor too. And you can get lost in the crowd. You just can get lost, and, you know, it's tough. YouTube is a tough place, and it really is all about endurance.
Yeah,
if you can stick it out, you know, that helps. And I just want to add one more thing before we go. If you are starting out with YouTube, I had mentioned this before, getting your content put other places is key. YouTube search is key. You have to tag your videos properly. You have to put the metadata in there when you're starting out. When you're bigger, you don't really have to worry about it so much because you have an audience. But putting metadata into your description, using tags correctly, all that kind of stuff, YouTube puts that into their algorithm, and I attribute a lot of our success to YouTube search because I know where my views are coming from, and whether people are subscribing for it or not, people are watching it, and that's all from search because my analytics tell me that. So it is important. You know, I know Jamin had said earlier that, you know, he put something into the search bar and all these videos come up. Yeah, that's really tough. That is really tough, but. You know, if you can do anything just a little bit different, if you can make your description better than the other 1,000 videos that are in there, and you put more data in there that's like legit data, you know, not just like a whole bunch of tag words, you'll probably stand a little bit better chance of coming up higher in those search results. Yeah. I just want to add one more thing there. In the comment section, let us know how you receive your videos. So are you watching them on mobile? If you're using the YouTube, if you're using YouTube in a browser, are you going to, you know, click on your subscriptions in the top right? So you're clicking your channel name and then clicking on subscriptions, or are you relying on the YouTube homepage to get your videos?
Definitely.
Jay, I'd love to pick your brain on that sometime.
I think, yeah, that's a whole other topic. I think we've got, I think we've gained several other videos out of this. Okay, so I'd just be interested to finally ask what you guys as viewers think about this topic today. Do you find that YouTube has changed for the negative? Has all the changes that have been made recently been very frustrating? Have you had the issue of not having, you know, people that you're subscribed to, you've not been receiving their videos? Because I've found that many people will say that they'll come and check back for a channel after a week and find that a load of videos have been posted and they've not received any single one of them. So have you had that problem? And what have you found other solutions? Have any of you guys out there found solutions to this? Have you found other ways that you will go back, or have you just found that the whole process of people that you subscribe to has changed? Do you find that you now have to physically go and check people's channels rather than waiting for the videos to come to you? Be interested to hear about that. So I want to thank Snoov, I want to thank Jamin, and I want to thank Jay. We've been talking about YouTube today, and I am Luetin. Thank you very much, and I'll see you with some more content very soon.